Hi friends, I welcome you all here at TNV Academy. In this session, we are going to talk about the clause 8.5.3 release and deployment management of an international standard ISO 20001 2018 Information Technology Service Management. In this session, we shall cover all the requirements of clause 8.5.3 release and deployment management in detail, along with some appropriate examples. As the requirements of the clause 8.5.3 depend upon the requirements of clause 6, clause 7, clause 8.1, 8.2, 8.3, 8.4, clause 8.5.1, and clause 8.5.2. I would like to recommend you referring these clauses of ISO 20001 2018 also for better understanding of clause 8.5.3. Now coming to the mandatory documentation requirements as evidence or proof under this clause 8.5.3. There is no mandatory document required to meet this service requirements. Friends, let's discuss about the outcome of this session. After completing this session, you will be enabled to understand service release and deployment management requirement necessary to support the operations of the service management system of the standard. Now, let's have an introduction of clause 8.5.3 release and deployment management. Clause 8.5.3 explains about release and deployment management. Each release needs to be classified into several classifications. According to the clause 8.5.3, the organization shall define the types of release, including release under emergency conditions, their occurrences, and how they are to be managed. Clause says that the organization shall plan the deployment of new or altered services and its components into the live environment. The planning shall be done in coordination with the change management, which is described under clause 8.5.1 of the standard, and also include references to the related request for a change, recognized errors or problems which are being closed through the release. Clause specifies that the planning shall also include the dates for deployment of each release, deliverables, and the methods of deployment of release. As per the clause 8.5.3, the release shall be verified against the documented acceptance criteria and approved by the management before the deployment. If the acceptance criteria are not met, the organization and other interested parties shall make a decision on essential actions and further deployment. Before deployment of a release into the live environment, a baseline of the affected CIs shall be taken. The release shall be deployed into the live environment so that the integrity of the services and service components is maintained. According to the clause 8.5.3 of standard, the organization shall monitor and analyze the success or failure of releases. The measurements for monitoring and analyzing shall include all incidents related to a release in the period following deployment of a release. The results and conclusions drawn from the analysis shall be recorded and reviewed by management to identify opportunities for improvement. Clause also specifies that information about the success or failure of release and future release dates shall be made available for other service management activities as appropriate. Now coming to the non-conformity, please see the auditor finding action report or non-conformist report on screen for writing non-conformities under this clause. I leave it up to you now. Please go through this and try to understand the various components of this non-conformance report. So friends, now we have reached at the end of this session. I hope that you have an idea about clause 8.5.3 release and deployment management of ISO IEC 20000-1 2018 Information Technology Service Management Standard. I sincerely thank you all for your interest and attention. Thanks and best wishes.